Good morning, students. In the last part we have seen that the population's characteristics, that is the attributes of populations, where we have discussed the size, density, distribution pattern, birth rate, the death rate, population growth. Again we will summarize these things and we will move to the next part of these things. So, as you know, these concepts are very important for us. Let us come to this concept of the birth rate, then the death rate. So, we are discussing about the population attributes. So, under that we can now discuss about the birth rate, difference between birth rate and the death rate. So, also we can discuss about the natality and the mortality. So, as we know, and in addition to that I will discuss with the immigration and your emigrations. So, what my intention to tell you, with the concept also we should know what is the difference between these things, which will help you in the exam to write how birth rate difference from death rate, natality, mortality, immigration and emigrations. So, as you know, what is the birth rate? The number of birth per unit of population for a particular time or unit of time. So, particularly we have known that. So, let us example to find out the birth rate. Suppose in a pond the population of lotus number is 20, 8 more lotus is added, it is added. Now, somebody will ask you what is the birth rate of lotus. So, it is very easy to find out. Yes, the 8, that is the number of new individual by number of older individuals. So, here the confusion arises whether it is 20 or it is 28. So, it is 20 because initial it was 20. So, 8 by 20. So, 2 by 5 or you can say 0.4. So, from this we can know number of individual added. So, that we can say number of individual added to that one, we can say this is the birth rate. Okay. Similarly, we can take the death rate, number of individual dies for unit time for a particular population. Suppose you have let us take the example that you have population, you have a population of a area 10, people died 2. So, what is the death rate? So, death rate can be 2 by 10, so which is 0.2. So, from this one can analyze the death rate and your birth rate. Now, related to that is called your natality, death rate called the mortality. So, how we can define natality is the, you can say the number of death per unit, number of death for unit population for unit time. So, the natality and mortality are related to the birth and death. Similarly, if you want to have this natality, it increase the population, but by this mortality you will find the population is decrease the population. Due to death there will be decrease in the population. Similarly, you will find how natality helps it maintain the population, due to population more number of individual, it is maintains that populations what maintain the continuity. गोटे जगह आस्ते आस्ते पॉपुलेशन बढ़िबो. So, that is called maintain the continuity. It decrease, but one thing your death rate natality does, it maintain the health of the population. Less will the population will be healthier. So, if you will see one thing, that in the higher population, you will find population when low, when the death rate is low, the population will be large. When the death rate will be low, when the population size is small. Small thile population size death rate have low. When population size is big, the death rate will be high. But it will be opposite. When the population is small, the growth will be high. The natality will be high. When the population is big, you will find natality is less, or you will find low. So, depending upon the size of population, natality and mortality also varies. So, from that you can find out that they have told how to find out the death rate, and that is delta n by your t. From that you can find out this natality and the mortality rate. Now, how this natality and is related to immigrations, or you can say the emigrations, the birth rate and the death rate. So, you will find immigration is, we know what is immigration, it is the permanent inward movement of individual. It is the permanent inward movement of the individuals, or you can say the arrival of new individuals from one population to others. That is arrival of new individual from one population to other, or we can say the permanent inward movement. We can say this is the permanent inward movement. Permanent inward movement. So, you can say this is called the outward movement. It can be called as this is the outward movement. So, here you will find that means it is moving out. Somebody is moving out of the populations, moving out of the individuals, moving out of the individual from the populations, from a population. So, now we are clear that when there is addition or permanent inward movement of individual to a population is called the immigration. When it is going out, that is called the outward movement, that is called emigrations. Now, what happens if immigration will be there, you will find the size of the population increases. Size of the population increase. If it will go away, then you will find the size of the population size decreases. So, here what you will find? Here you will find the loss of alleles will be there. You will find the species are moving. So, loss of alleles by this method of emigration you will find. And here you will find the size is increasing. That means due to addition of the entry into the gene pool. So, you are finding gene pool. So, you are finding entry into the gene pool, that is why the size is increasing. Here you are finding there is a loss. Fourth one you will find there will be, why this happening? When there will be things are plenty, environment is suitable, there will be immigration will be happening. So, cause due to better living condition, due to better living condition, or you will find availability of food everything. Now, people are coming here, but here due to deficiency, deficiency or calamities, any natural calamities happening, the people will move from one place to another. So, you can say if you will find there is overcrowding, when there will be overcrowding, So, for the adaptive nature people move from this place. So, that is called the emigrations. So, this how we can say that the one characters the birth rate, death rate, natality, immigration and emigrations they are there, and it is very easy to relate them in a very easy way. You can relate them that I have shown you, but it is very easy. One can have, this is called the population density. Now, this population density can be increased with the addition of birth, or you can say the natality. You can say this is your immigration, you can say I. So, I is the immigration, so it increases. Similarly, birth, due to birth also population density increases. So, you can say that is your birth or natality. Similarly, population density decreases due to mortality, or you can say death, your death rate it decreases. Similarly, due to emigrations it decreases. So, one can say what is the formula when we will go for this things, it will be easy to find out how this formula to tell that how this population density is related to your birth, death rate, immigration and emigration. Now, we will move to the next part of our discussion, that is population growth. In the population growth, you will find there is increase of this number of individuals during a specific period of time. So, during that specific period of time, you will find which is determined by two things. That means, one you are finding the left side, that is the arrival, second one is the departure. So, how much are arising and how much are departing. So, from that one can analyze the population growth. So, for that one thing we can now do that the growth population growth depends upon two. One is the arrival of new individuals, second one we can say the rate of their departure, rate of, that is rate of arrival of new individuals and the rate of departure of the individuals. So, the arrival of new individual, that is your birth and immigration, whereas rate of departure is your death. So, it is can birth rate, here is death rate and your emigration. So, one can now find out the equation for population growth. So, the equation for population growth can be determined by, that is NT plus 1 equal to NT plus birth plus immigration bracket whole bracket minus death plus emigration. Now, what we are discussing, that arrival of new individuals and the rate of departure of the individuals, that is going to determine that population growth. From that we are determining that equation, that is NT plus 1 equal to NT plus birth rate plus immigration death rate. So, NT is the NT and is the individual, this is initial number of organism, that is nt plus 1, that is means specific time, that is number of organism after a specific time. So, after a specific time, what is the population of that we can determine from this equation. So, that is how one can know how much population has increased and what is the growth of that population, that actually gives this equation. Next, we will go to the how particularly the growth is being measured, we can say, or what are the different growth model is there to determine the population growth. So, when such type of things comes, we need to have 2 or 3 concept in that, what is age structure and what is age pyramid. Now, that I am going to tell you in the growth model. So, we will discuss about the age structure and age pyramid. You must be knowing one concept, that is populations. When we growth of population is being carried out, lot of models are there, that is mathematical models are there, some laboratory conditions they also carried out, in field condition also some experiments are being done to know the growth of population, because you must be knowing the census is 10 years we are doing. So, lot of technologies are being used to know the populations. So, here I am talking about that the growth models. So, I am talking the growth model means I will talk on that is this growth of population, you can say is affected by sex, then you can say the age and the interbreeding. So, these factors actually affecting the growth of populations, that is their sex, the age, the breeding age, all these will now going to determine that growth of that population. So, that means these individuals will be at in different ages. That population you will find there in the different ages, or you can find the group. So, that we can now say that is called age group, or we can say the age structure. So, what is that age structures or age group? Particularly some also call is age distribution. It is the proportion of individual in each age group. In each age group, that proportion will determine your age structure. Now, what is age pyramid? Now, depending upon the age group, when we are considering the population, we are taking 3 group into the population. One is called your pre-reproductive age. Pre-reproductive age, that is you can say 0 to 14 years. Second one is reproductive age, the capacity to have the child you can birth, that is called your from 15 to you can go up to 45. Then third one is called the post reproductive age, that is from 45 to. So, depending upon that age, how much people of that particular age group is there, now they are going to form a particular type of model. So, depending upon this, the age pyramid is of 3 types, that we are now going to describe. That age pyramid is of 3 types. So, first one is called your triangular. Second one is called your bell shape. Third one is called your urn shape, URN. So, this age pyramid, so you can say what is the definition of age pyramid, sometimes comes in the exam, that you can write down, that is the you can say the model representing, it should be written here, the model representing the geometrically, you can say geometrically the different age group in a population. So, this is the, you can say, your age pyramid model representing geometrical the different age group in a population. Now, I am going to tell you this the 3 age, and triangular or bell shape or horn shape. This triangular is also called as, this is called as, you can say, expanding population. It is called as expanding population. Some books also you will find it is called the young, the name is the young population, that is your triangular. Bell shape, you can say, this is very important, this is very stable one. This is the most stable population, but so far India is concerned, you will find the example of growth of population in India is one is your that is your triangular, you will find. No, this will I will come, this example I will give you at the end when there will be growth curve, that will be more easy one. So, come to the horn shape, which is also called the declining. Okay. Now, if you see the diagrammatic representation of this is a triangular, means it is easy one to have, it is a triangle shape. If it is a bell shape, so you can say the base is like this, you can have, so you can have a bell shape. So, it is called horn shape, it is somehow you will find little. So, you are finding the 3 shape, the horn shape, bell shape and young. Now, what particularly we have seen, there are 3 age group. So, you can say this is the age group, the base, each one is having this one. This is called your pre-reproductive age. Now, here what you will find 3, but the second one you will find this one, you will find the reproductive. Here is the reproductive. The reproductive one, and the third one is your post reproductive. So, in these 3 what we are finding that this gives a triangular shape, means here the number of reproductive individual is very large. You will find the number of reproductive is very large, and when you are moving to the reproductive age, actually this is very important. This age group of people will give birth to the child. Now, this is decreasing. That means, another books you will find the diagram is like this. Some books you will find like this. So, here this is decreasing. The size is decreasing. Now, that means it is not a healthy one. When you are moving the pre-reproductive to the post-reproductive, you are finding the structure is like this. That means the reproductive number is less here. But when you will find stable, means you will find this is very important. The pre-reproductive and the post-reproductive both are of having same, because this is very important. And you will find then might it decrease. So, this one is a stable one, you can say. But when you will go to the declining, it is a very interesting, that means you will find here the population is like this. That is means it is unstable. So, what particularly it shows, we can write down that the characteristics of the triangular or expanding population, here the number of young population, that is the reproductive is more, the reproductive age group is less, and the post reproductive is few. That means population growing is having higher birth rate. Here you will find population is having higher birth rate. Here you will find equal number. This is very equal number of the pre-reproductive and the post and the reproductive age. So, it is very stable one. This is called the declining because the reproductive age is higher than the pre-reproductive age. Post-reproductive is also high. That shows this is your post-reproductive, which is high. That means it is not a healthy for the growth of population. Now, this diagrams gives us idea how the age group must be distributed for the growth of a population. That will give you a stable population for a community. So, next we will see how actually this this is called your graphical, this is called a graphical things, but we can represent this in equation form. So, that particularly will go for the logistic growth, another is called you will go for a exponential growth, that is called the mathematical part. We will move to how the population can be studied. So, next part we will move to that is called your mathematical models for the growth of the populations, where we can see two type, particularly in exams. This is a very important concept. Two curves are very famous. One is J curve, another is S curve. J curve is your, you can say the exponential growth. Another one is S is called your logistic growth. So, that will now see the difference between these two. This is very, very important. We should know what are the concept to it and how particularly the from that equation one can know that particular growth of the population. Now, what I explained that for the study of population, we are finding that the mathematical models are there, laboratory conditions are there, field conditions. So, now for under this mathematical models, you can say under this mathematical models, now we are going to have that the growth forms, the behave in two ways. One we can say the first one will go for exponential, second one will go for logistic. Okay. Now, what is exponential growth? Second one is called logistic growth. So, this is your J shape, this is your S shape. Okay. I will come to this portion later. Let us, what is actually the exponential growth? Now, there are two conditions. Suppose in an environment you are finding there is plenty of food, plenty of space, everything is there. So, you will find the population who resides there, they will have a better breeding capacity, they will go for interbreeding. So, their population will increase. That means, nothing is limited here. So, there will be a population size will increase. So, if you will see this condition particularly in the rainy season or in a pond, you will find during this rainy season you will find the algal bloom, the increases its mass increases. That means, the plenty of water is there, nutrients are there, so it will go on increasing. So, what particularly we can say the exponential growth, there is, this is unlimited. When you are finding there is unlimited, with unlimited, that means there is no restriction is there. There is no restriction. So, it will go on producing its offsprings. That means, when it happens, when there is plenty of nutrients, space, you will find this will happens. So, it expands infinitely, it expands infinitely. But the reverse case you will find here, this is not true at all. Everything there is a limited, there is a borderline, or what there is, you can say beyond that you will not find these things. Man, that means here there is a carrying capacity concept I will come. That means in more practical, in nature, this is a more practical one. In nature you will find certain things are restricted. That means you will find food, space are limited. You will not find, suppose you are staying in a place, you will find the food is this much, space is this much. Now, what we are doing? We are competing with each other. So, that is natural. So, that is why somebody will ask which one is a natural. So, this logistic one is a natural, because you have to go for competition, you have to compete with one another. So, the growth pattern will vary when you will go for exponential growth and when you will go for a logistic growth. That means, here you will plot a graph taking the time, that means with increase in time you will find the population increases. That means, you will find the population, there is sudden rise in the population, you will find there is a exponential, that means it is a J shape, there is a growth of population. This is your number of individuals in a population. So, the number of individual with time, its number is increasing. But when you will take that logistic, this part, you will find here the graph is little bit different. You will find same things with increase in time, here you will find the population, let us say the density. What will happen? Here you will find one zone is there. This is called your K. K stands for carrying capacity. This is called carrying capacity. That means, this carrying capacity here you will find a curve kemti habo, it will go like this, then it will go like this. That means, it is a S shape. Now, what it shows? This means, you will find there will be growth, but after certain there will be, it will in a stable conditions. A very good example you will find, particularly this happens in your, I was given example, this is your in algal bloom, but most of the wildlife you will find. That means, if you can take example of this this type of a growth, you will find, suppose you have 25 number of organisms in a forest. Now, you are finding the food, everything is well, then that 25 number is increasing to 1000, but when this population increases, there is a competition among them. So, you will find the population will remain as it is or it will decline. So, that is why you see from 25 it has increased, there is exponential, but again there is a stable. So, this is more practical, more natural one, that is called your logistic growth, this is called your exponential growth. Now, if you will see that who is the scientist actually is very famous for this logistic growth, the scientist name is starts with V, V-E-R-H-U-L-S-T, Verlust. So, he is the scientist who actually has given this concept. Now, the next part I will come to the equation part. Let us come to the equation part. This is very easy. The equation is Rn equal to dN by dt, that density of population you can find out from this, but here the formula is dN by dt is equal to Rn k minus n by k. Now, what is that k, or we can say what is that carrying capacity. So, what I was telling, there is a limit. So, now we will discuss in carrying capacity or k. In exam many times comes what is carrying capacity. Carrying capacity you can say is the environmental support, the environment support maximum number of individual. That means, suppose there is n is 10, k is 100. That means, there are n number of individuals, gote area re 10 ta loko achanti. That is the number of population, but we are telling that k is 100. That means, the carrying capacity of that area is 100. That means, it can feed another 90 people. That means, another 90 people can reside there, they can also share with that sort of food habit, or they can remain with this 10. So, if I am telling is 120, that means it is beyond carrying capacity. So, each population's a carrying capacity is there. So, that you can say in other word also, that this various biotic and abiotic components, they interact in such a way that the population will have a maximum upper size. It has a upper size limit. This is called your. So, beyond that when you will go, there will be a difficult for the population, that who does this one? This is being by the biotic and abiotic factors, they interact to produce, or they interact to decide that maximum limit, that is called the carrying capacity. So, from that you can find out this one. So far this equation is concerned, that I was explaining this to, again elaborately I will go to explain this to how particularly, because you may get question from this two equation also. So, this is very very important to know these two equations, and how particularly they, let us equation for the J shape, that is your, you can say n t equal to n 0 to the power e to the power r t. So, what is n t? It is the population density after time t. n 0 is the, you can say the initial population density at time and initial time, that is you can say 0. E is the intrinsic, it is the base of natural logarithm, which is a constant factor 2.718. R, this is very important, this R is, you can say the per capita birth minus per capita death, this is B minus D. So, R is your intrinsic rate, this is intrinsic rate of natural, which particularly increase, or you will find sometimes it is also constant. So, from this you can find out, sometimes certain things will be given, you have to find out the value. Similarly, this one, so what I have written there, dN by dt equal to your Rn k minus n y n. So, this dN is the population density, this is the population density after time t, your dr is, we know the intrinsic rate. So, k is the carrying capacity. So, what particularly it shows, this two things from this logistic growth we can now conclude that environment has its own carrying capacity for each population. Second, the R is progressively decreases, because when there will be competition, there will be the among these individuals. So, these intrinsic factors that decreases, that actually you find from the birth and death rate. So, that also going to vary in that particular population. So, this is how one can analyze the attributes of the population, or population can be studied, or the population growth can be discussed. So, the next part of our discussion will be, that is how population they interact, because we know in a populations there are three things, that is individuals, then the population, then the community. Now, there is now will be interactions among themselves. So, that part now will deal with the population interactions. Now, during this interaction, this discussion, I need to have lot of terminology which are really very important for the point of examinations. So, you need to have these points and example of each category, then only it will be easy for you to have this sort of interactions. Now, if you see the interactions, there are variation always exist. If you see in the nature, some organism they are living for long time. Let us give example. We the human beings, we long, our life is so long. Some organism they have short life, that is your insect. Some organism they breed for only one time, and gotiye thara life re full habo se gach hochi bounce. So, bamboo, some organism, that means breed once in their life. Similarly, some you will find they are large number of organisms, that is your oyster. Some produce small number of organism, that is birds. So, now that shows there are lot of variation in the populations to exist in that. That means to adopt to variable, or so to adopt or to variable, and the organism goes for these sort of things. That means we can say this is the variation. So, now we are discussing population interaction. Under that we are finding that variation in the organisms, and this variation is because to adapt to the changing environments, that to so also to the exploitative nature. So, you need to have this variation. Now, to why I am discussing this? To adjust with the environmental conditions. To adjust with the environmental situations or condition, you need the variations. Now, we come to directly what is population interaction. Under this we can say the animals, microbes, plants, they do not live alone, they have an interaction among themselves. So, they are not in isolate conditions, they have interactions. So, what are the type of interactions? We know lot about this, but specifically we will go one by one. So, as this terminology are very important, I will go one by one. So, let us talk to about first one is called these are the type of interactions. We can say two type of interaction can we have. One is called either the interaction is beneficial or sometimes it is called harmful. So, the beneficial interactions are, one is called the predation, second one is called your competition, third one is called parasitism, parasitism. Fourth one is called amensalism. Amensalism. Fifth one is called commensalism. So if you see this interaction of with a positive, that is called photo cooperation. Photo cooperation. Second one is called the mutualism or symbiosis. So let us suppose there are species A, species B. So what is the type of interaction? So if you see this one, predation means we know there will be, just I will explain the latter. So it will be easy. That means one will eat others. So here you will find the predator is larger one. So predator will kill the prey. Predator will kill the prey, so it will destroy. That means the interaction here you will find one will eat other. So competition here you will find there will be both will be negative. So there will be either direct competition or there will be indirect competitions. Here amensalism plus minus, here it will find minus nil, here you will find plus nil. That means one is benefited, another will not be. Similarly, but here you will find both. Here you will find that both will be having this one. That means this one both. That means you will find this beneficial and harmful effect might be predation, competition, parasitism, amensalism, commensalism, photocooperation and mutualism. Now we will discuss one by one, that is come to predation first. So if we discuss about predation, the very good example is that first one is called predation. So here will come, what is the predation? It is the interaction among between the members of two species, in which one species capture, kill and eat the other one. That means one is called the predators, another is called the prey. So it kill others. So who is killed? That is called your prey. So that means you will find one kills another other. So if you see what is the importance of this predation. So your all these carnivorous, lion kills the your deer. So here you will find the similarly snakes takes the frogs. So what particularly the predation is important for us? Here you will find it is the maintain the balance. Maintain the balance. It maintains the balance of animal populations. It maintains the balance of animal population. Second, you will find, so that means you can say prey population is controlled by this one. The prey population is controlled by this one. Second, it is maintains the biological control of weeds and pest. What jagara mossa adhika hithibo, so the larva can be ate by you will give some plants and other animals, they will take that one. Similarly, Australia re kon hoitila bahut guda opunsia grow karthila 1920s. So they provide they use some moths, so that eat that particular opuntia. So to kill certain organism, you have to apply certain other organisms. Similarly, third one is it will maintains the species diversity. By this you will find the diversity of the species will be there. So it will also help in the maintaining the vegetations. You will find there is will be that particular herbivorous suppose increases, the vegetation will go decrease. That's why if there will be carnivorous, they will take this herbivorous, so vegetation will be maintained. So what you will find, if you take a food chain, a very good example of this one, that means you are finding the grass. So these are the producer, the trophic level 1, then grass is taken by the grasshoppers. These are the trophic level 2, then grasshoppers are the, you will find by, and then snake, a frog, you will find the frog, they are the trophic level 3, then you will find snake, then snake, hawk. So trophic level 4, trophic level 5. So what you are finding, they are in the carnivorous are particularly in the trophic level 3, they are the top level of the trophic level. This particularly the carnivorous are the most of the predators, carnivorous. So they are the playing the major role in the trophic level, that is the trophic level 3, 4, you will find these things are there. So this is how the predators have the interactions. Next we will go to second one is called the parasitism. If we discuss about the parasitism, you will find that is a relation between two organisms of the different species, in which one organism called parasite obtain food directly from the other one, that is the living organism, that is the host. So one will take the food from the another directly, that is the host. So here you will find the parasite can be of two types, it can be ectoparasite, another is called your endoparasite. Ectoparasite means who lives on the surface of the host, it will live on the surface of the host, whereas endoparasite who lives inside the host. If you take the example of your ectoparasite, you will find your bed bugs, leech, flies, they are the example of ectoparasites. And if you will find this endoparasite, that is in your digestive system, in circulatory systems. So this endoparasite can be two types, obligate parasite or facultative parasites. That means obligate parasite, where you will find that plasmodium, your plasmodium and entamoeba, your Cuscuta nirmuli and Rafflesia. So these are your obligate parasites. So in the plant example, similarly facultative, that means for certain times it will be there, then it can ringworms of cattle, a cat and calves. So that means they can sustain, but this needs this without this parasite it cannot continue complete its life cycle. So it can be obligate parasite or it can be a facultative parasites. So that means, so host, it depends upon host directly, where you will find one is benefited, another is being harmed. So in this sort of example you will find other example you can cite also under the parasitism group. Next we can discuss about the amensalism. The third one we can discuss, the amensalism. Now amensalism you will find the very good example you will find, it is the interaction between two living organisms of different species, in which one organism does not allow others to grow in a or live near it. I will not allow others to grow near me. That means that organism will inhibit the other organism. How? It will secrete certain chemicals by which the growth of other organism is inhibited. That is called, they produce allochemicals. that allochemicals will give you inhibitory effect. It will inhibitory effect by which the growth is controlled. That means a very good example, your penicillium, the antibiotics you will find, if you are applying the penicillium, it will not allow the growth of staphylococcus, your staphylococcus bacterium. That means it will check the growth of the staphylococcus because penicillium will produce certain chemicals. This is called your amensalism, that means your inhibitory effect. So, the fourth one we can now discuss is commensalism. The commensalism, another is the mutualism. So, if you see this commensalism and mutualism, there is a little bit similarity is there. Commensalism and your, if you see, you can see, take the difference here like this, commensalism, and you can here write down that is mutualism. And the last concept is your that is your competitions. So, I will touch these three things, but the example of each category need to be added by you, so that it will help you to attend many questions in the exams. Third one is, you can say, the competition. So, let us come to what is commensalism. Now, commensalism is that one, it is a relation between two living or individual of different species in which one is benefited of other, neither harmed nor benefited. That means one is benefited, another one is neither benefited or harmed. So, but in mutualism is a different one. This is two organisms in which both the partners are benefited. Both are benefited. Here both are benefited, or you can say, so little bit difference exists between mutualism and symbiosis, you need to know. But here in general what I can say, both are benefited. Here one is benefited, another is not benefited or harmed. So, one example we can take, your epiphyte. आमे समस्ते जानिथिबा जे भांडा रक्सबर्गी रसना गोटे अच्छी, दैट पर्टिकुलर दि ऑर्किड्स आर देयर. देखियो से गछ कोन, इट ग्रोइंग ऑन अदर प्लांट्स फॉर स्पेस ओनली. So, very important is that when this competition is happening, commensalism, you will find they go for space and food, because if you relate, sometimes parasitism, they also competition, but your young baby in mother's womb and your mosquito, they cannot be called as parasite, because they are not they are competing only for space and food. But for other things, if it is competing, then only it can be parasite. So, but these three are not they are competing for the space and food. But here you see the commensalism, that particularly is called this is are not parasite. What I want to add here, but commensalism, the space and food there. One example तमर होचे रसना और भांडा रक्सबर्गी, एटा होची ऑर्किड प्लांट्स, आमर ऑर्किड्स, आमर मॉस, फॉर्न. ओके, सिमिलर एठी कोन होची, बोथ दैट प्लांट इज गेटिंग बेनिफिट. आमर सेकेंड कैटेगरी यू कैन टेक एग्जांपल, गोटे एनिमल केस रे गोटे सकर फिश अछि. ए सकर फिश कौन करिवो, बड़ फिशटा अच्छे आमर कौन सार्क रो तार डोर्साल फिन रे माने shark रो माछर dorsal fin सहित sucker fish कौन होगा attach होबो so that it will get to benefit. That means free ride मागनारे जाई परिबो ता संगरे second protect from the predators, protect from others. ताको बड़ माछ भी खाई परिबेनी. So this is how both now this is not getting any harm but it is being benefited. So what we are finding, this is the contact you will find for a periodic time, not for always. For a periodic time it needs a contact, but when you are going for mutualism, this contact is for life. That means without one cannot live without another. That means if you take the example of lichen, which is association of algae plus fungi. Second example, you can take your nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen fixation, that is your rhizobium, azolla. These are a good example. Third one is your called mycorrhiza. Mycorrhiza, root of higher plants with your fungi. That is your pinus. Second one, you will find both the cases. Algae is getting benefit, fungi is getting benefit. So here both are remaining contact with each other. That means both are benefited due to these interactions. Both are having, you can say, beneficial effect. So third category we can go for, this is what I was discussing, the competition, which is two types, inter-specific, another is intra-specific. Interspecific means you will find within same species. Interspecific, that means with different species. So if you suppose this interspecific is a very important one, because to this one of the great scientists, that is called your Gauss, Gauss in 1943 he formulated one principle called principle of competition. Principle of competition exclusion. Principle of competition exclusion is formulated by means that gote jagare kichi nutrient ach, many are competing for that one. That means it is between that species paramecium. Some nutrients are there, there will be lot of competition among them. So that will related to this interspecific, when there will be competition in a same habitat for a particular things, that is called the intercompetitions. So other like your forest areas, light is very less, but all the plants they compete for that one, the herb, trees, vine, everything is compete. So this is how we can take example from the interspecific and intraspecific, and other relation can be studied. So my sincere advice to you that when we are going for the population interactions, these concept with example from plant and animal from day to day life need to be remembered. Thank you a lot.